Well, it's the next day now, and we are on the other side. It's still freezing cold here, and raining, and not very pleasant. So we're still under the tarpaulin. We decided not to do the brake cylinders, because I didn't have all the hardware I needed. I'll show that later, what the problem was, so we're going to do that at a later date. It should be good to go for now. So let's take that drum off, and you can see there's a lot of play. So I think the automatic adjuster doesn't work on this one, which is, it needs a bit of a clean. This side is actually okay so far. There's a bit of wetting as well, not too much, but we're gonna replace both of the cylinders at another time. So everything looks okay so far. There's plenty of material left here. This looks like has eaten some mud at some point, so you give it a good clean, adjust it, and we should be good to go. It has a little bit more wear than the other side, so the other side wasn't breaking that much anymore, so that makes sense. Yeah, just blow the dust out, clean the drum. It's possible that my wheel bearings are leaking as well. There's a bit of there is a bit of moisture here. I don't know if that's water or brake fluid or oil. Yes, it's got to be taken apart at some point. The weather is just not pleasant enough to do that right now, and if it passes the test as it is, I'm happy with that. So let's clean that. Again, don't do this at home. Brake dust is not healthy. With some weird grooves in there. Just go over it with a bit of sandpaper, adjust it, and it just appears the auto adjuster. It's moving, but this flimsy metal thing doesn't do what it's supposed to do, so it does need a little bit of manual help. There is some, I think there is some mud, or there was some mud in the drum here. You can see it's really sandy here. Here. Yeah, I think that suffered from axle forward. That's the problem with the drum brakes. If you go into the water or in the mud, it's obviously going inside and producing some issues here. I'm just taking a little bit of that rusty high spot off there, so makes it easier in the future to get the brake drums out. that's the adjuster, and obviously if we turn it this way we expand the bottom of the brake shoes, and that will tighten the brakes. You can also come in with a screwdriver from here. There's a little rubber grommet here, plug, take that out, and then just get in with a screwdriver and also do the adjustment this way. Hope that's all visible. So it's quite simple. As soon as you understand how the mechanism works inside, it's pretty easy to do that from the inside, even with the car. So just check it up and tighten it up, and then release it until the wheel spins free, and that's it basically. So that should do it, and that's exactly what we're going to do. So let's get the drum back on. Plenty of clearance, so you can actually make that a bit bigger. Still plenty of play. So I do that until that rusty edge of the drum starts binding. So, and then we do the rest from the inside. It's just easier to do it this way. So should it be good enough? So what we do now, we just pull the handbrake or push the pedal a few times to center the liners, and then we tighten the liners until they bind, and just turn it back a few teeth, probably half a turn or so. That should give us enough clearance, and then we do a test drive and see what it does. And that's the reason why I didn't do the, I don't know if that's visible, why I didn't do the brake cylinders, because I think these are as badly seized as the brake cylinder pipes as well. I have a new brake pipe here, so I can do that at some point, but I don't want to risk that today because I need the car tomorrow, and this one doesn't look better than the other one, so that's got a nasty kink here as well. That's not pretty. So that's gonna be a job for another day. So that's original, so that's from '96, I think. So it's time for that brake line anyway. It doesn't look much better here. So yeah, that's a job for one more day. As you may have noticed, there is a bump stop here, but there is no bump stop on the other side. The reason is very simple. I wanted to replace them because they were broken off, and as usual with a Jeep, you break the bolts off. They just rusted into the frame. So just another one of these little jobs which needs to be done. I've got heavy duty springs, so it doesn't bottom out, but it's better to have them in place. So now it comes to the nasty part. We need to go into the car. What you need is a 13mm spanner and a long socket. We'll do with a spanner alone, but the socket makes life a little bit easier. So it's all wet here, so we may have some fun. And here is our adjuster. I'll try to hold that so that cable is loose, that is not so loose. Okay, so all you need is basically I don't know if that's visible. We're gonna get that nut back in here. Hardly can see it, so it's probably not visible on the camera as well. Take the camera away. It's obvious what to do. It's just turn that inwards. And what we're basically looking for is make it to bite at the second ratchet. There is some tension to feel to this play here. First, second, and I can feel the pads are coming on, but I have still 3 to go. So I think I do another few turns and then do a test drive and check it again. So now we're back on the other side. I'm just checking for adjustment here. What we do here is I always turn downwards because that takes the other side up, and just push the pedal a few times, and then just find when it's binding. Not much to go. Now it's binding, so back off 1 or 2 teeth and that should be good to go. That's about it. Sorry for the poor lighting, but it's under the car, it's cold, it's raining, and I just want to get the job done here. So a relatively easy way to have an idea if the brake shoes are set correctly is if you push the pedal. It's probably not visible here. If you push the pedal and just remember how far it goes, and then you pull the handbrake and do the same again, and if it does the same approximately, you know you're good. If that makes a huge difference with a handbrake on this car, there are other cars where this is completely different, but on this one here, because it acts on the same spot as the cylinder acts, it's just expanding via this little spacer. So if that makes no difference or no noticeable difference, it's hard to tell. It's a matter of feeling actually, but I think I'm happy with that. Should be good to go. We give it a test drive and see what it does. Just pull the handbrake and pull some ruts in the gravel and see what it does, and if they are both the same length, I think we're okay to go for the test. Hope that wasn't too confusing. Another one is if you start pumping and it quickly and the pedal comes further out, you either got air in the system or you got lots of depth travel in your system. I'm okay with that because that feels normal. Hard to tell, it's a matter of experience basically. So what I did was basically just tightening up until you feel a resistance. There is a slight resistance, but I'm gonna give it a drive because I did some work on this side. So another good idea is actually braking hard a few times and then just take an infrared thermometer and measure the temperature. That gives you a good idea as well if the efficiency is the same on both brakes, because if they have the same efficiency, they're gonna produce the same heat. If they don't, one side is less efficient, and it needs looking at. I use one of those here because the front brakes have the habit of binding when you've been in dirt or mud. So if I have the feeling the brakes are binding, I just drive down the road and measure the temperature on all 4 brakes, and if they equally distributed per axle, they are fine. If not, you gotta look at. Yeah, I think we call it done. Go for a test drive and see how it goes. Look at this weather, it's awful, isn't it? Well, the reason why I didn't do the brake cylinders is I need to do a bit of research what the correct size is. This just doesn't feel right here. It's a bit too much play, and also the mounting bolts are, this is a 10mm, this is a 6mm bolt, and it doesn't fit, so it's something imperial and I need to figure out what it is. So at least we found out what it is. I found a bolt which fits, and this looks like 20 threads per inch, and it is, I don't know if that's visible, it's a 1/4 inch. So that fits here. I guess my thread gauge is a 55 degree. It looks like a 55 degree bolt, and I'm pretty sure, because this is American, this is most likely a 60 degree, because it has some, it's not tight. They do fit, but it's that problem all the time. So the size and the pitch is right, it's just not the right bolt. We need an American 1/4 inch by 20, pretty hard to get them in Europe, so we'll see what we're gonna do. And I think it's the same here. These are 55 degrees, I believe. At least what I can see, this thread is not flat at top and bottom, so it's a 55 degree, most likely. These are the problems if you drive an American car in Europe. It fits, but I'm not happy with the slop in it. I had that problem before, you know, if on other bits and pieces it doesn't matter, but on a brake cylinder I'd like to stay them in place. So I need to find the right bolts, no way out.